Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hunting Illinois podcast. This is Jason. With us, we got Dan, Lauren, and Curtis. Today, we're going to be going over some season updates. We've been out doing all kinds of stuff. We've had a lot of mentored hunts and have personal hunts, and we'll tell you what we've been seeing in the woods. But before we get going on that, Dan, what kind of outdoor updates do we have?
Yeah, so it's kind of a busy time of the year, right? We're smack dab in the heart of our fall hunting season. Rut has kind of started to peter out a little bit. We're still getting some tail action there, and we'll definitely talk about what we've been seeing, what our strategies are going to be over the next few weeks. But one important update we really need to emphasize is the first firearm season begins this Friday. So we're recording this on Wednesday, November 19th. That firearm season opens November 21st and concludes November 23rd. And again, that is the first firearm season. And the second firearm season isn't too far behind, opening on December 4th and concluding December 7th. Now, there's a few important kind of updates and reminders that if you're new to firearm hunting in Illinois, that you need to keep in mind. One of the biggest ones is if you're hunting in one of these CWD surveillance counties, there are special requirements for how you need to report your harvest. So in other parts of the state, we can report our harvest by 10 o'clock the day of the harvest, either online or through a phone system. In these CWD surveillance counties during the firearm seasons, you actually have to take that full carcass to a physical check station, like we all used to have to do back in the day. Everybody had to do that. So if you're in one of those CWD surveillance counties, remember, you've got to take your deer physically to a check station to report that harvest so they can take a sample. You're not able to just report your harvest online or via the phone system. And just there are a few new counties that were added this year. So Bureau County is a new one, Ford County as well, and Lee County. So those are the three new ones that were added this year to the CWD surveillance areas. So the old counties were Boone, Carroll, DeKalb, Ford, Grundy, Joe Davies, Kane, Kankakee, Kendall, LaSalle, Livingston, McHenry, Ogle, Stevenson, Will, and Winnebago. And so if you're hunting in any of those counties I just said, this weekend during the first firearm season or the other firearm seasons, make sure to take that carcass to a physical check station. The daily check stations, I believe, are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you've got a little bit of time after that sun sets. If you go to the website huntillinois.org/CWD map, and we'll put a link down in the show notes or the YouTube description wherever you're watching this, you can find your nearest check station at that website. So you can highly recommend doing that before you head out in the field, just so you have an idea of where you need to take it after your hunt. Now, one thing that's probably worth mentioning, obviously, you may recover your deer after 8 p.m., right? And so what's the process there after those check stations close? So if you're not able to locate it by 8 p.m., the hunter must take the deer to the appropriate check station upon opening at 8 a.m. the following day. So basically, just get it there first thing the next morning if you're out still tracking or you just can't get in time to before that field station or that check station closes. A couple other things that are probably worth remembering. Obviously, we're firearm hunting, so we need to keep our blaze orange or blaze pink, and that's 400 square inches of a vest completely unbroken, as well as a cap. And you want to keep that on at all times when you're in the field hunting, walking to and from the stand. When you're in the stand, keep that blaze orange on at all times. I think that's about it for the firearm season. Obviously, one more safety reminder: if you're hunting in an elevated stand, always keep that safety harness on at all times, especially when you're going up or coming down. That's when a lot of people happen to fall out of stand. So make sure to use that safety equipment properly. Read through your manuals that come with it. I know a lot of us don't like to read safety and user manuals, but for PPI or PPE stuff, it's definitely important to make sure you're using it properly and storing it properly too, because those things do have a little bit of a shelf life. So that's it for kind of firearm deer season. One other announcement that relates to deer hunting I want to bring to your attention. The Illinois DNR, as well as Learn to Hunt, we've kind of partnered at developing a system or a series of mentored archery hunts. And we've got two currently open. And so one of them is at Kickapoo State Recreation Area, and the other is Fox Ridge State Park. And so what's really unique about these two hunts is not only you're getting to hunt in a cool space, but you're getting to hunt areas of the property that are typically closed to other hunters. And so naturally, these areas just congregate and become a sanctuary for deer throughout the season. And these site managers realized, hey, these areas are severely overpopulated. We need to reduce the deer herd. And so it's a great opportunity to get in there, harvest some of those deer, reduce the overabundance in these areas, but also provide more opportunity for us as hunters. So those hunts run December 15th through January 4th. There is an online application process for it. We will put a link again down in the show notes or YouTube description below for more information, as well as to get your application in for that. But you still got about a week or two to get that application in. So when you hear this, just go ahead and submit it if you're interested.
Awesome. Yeah,
Did
thanks
you
a
want
lot,
to ask
Dan.
them real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You have till December 1st, I think, for turkey, first
Yes.
lottery. So
Awesome.
get that in. Don't forget
Don't
before
forget. Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Fall, thinking about your Thanksgiving turkey, get your spring turkey lottery. If you're an Illinois resident, first lottery, get that in while you're thinking about it. So we have a video. Do it now. I need to do it. So do it now.
Yeah, I got mine done yesterday. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
I
We
need to
had
do
a,
mine
a
tonight.
webinar,
So
and so it worked out. I just got to do it during the webinar, and hey, I didn't have to worry about it.
There you go.
yep. So this is my reminder to myself. If you're like
Yeah.
me, don't procrastinate anymore. You're running out of time.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so good luck to all the firearm deer hunters out this weekend. I personally, I didn't draw a tag. My wife did. So we'll be out at least a little bit this weekend. I know Jason, I knew you drew a tag, so you'll
Yeah.
probably be out there as well. So good luck.
I'll be out there. It looks like some light rain all day Friday, like literally
Yeah.
8 o'clock to
Yeah.
4 o'clock on Friday.
It
So
may
I'll
be
be,
one of these days that if I can convince the wife to not sit, we may do a little bit of walking around because a day like
yeah.
that, you could do it pretty quietly.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
It should be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so speaking of hunting, who's been getting out and what kind of opportunities have you been seeing? And has anyone gotten anything or has been with someone who got something?
I've gotten out quite a bit. I don't necessarily need to go first if somebody else wants to jump in, but I don't mind talking through some of my hunts. It's been a pretty busy personal. Unfortunately, I haven't hunted myself a lot, but I've been, taking a lot of mentor hunts and stuff, and we've had really good success the past couple weeks. So, one of the best hunts I've had recently was on November 2nd. So it's still we're a few weeks from there now. But I was with a participant at a piece of public land, and it was November 2nd, which was a Sunday morning, and we were running a little bit late. He texted me he was running a few minutes behind, so I kind of delayed my departure from my house a little bit. And we got to the piece of public land about when I usually like to be getting set up in the field. So again, we were a little late. And the whole drive there, I'm in a panic. It's again November 2nd. It's a Sunday. I expected the place to be crawling with other hunters. And so I was the whole drive there. I'm coming up. Okay, what is my backup plan? What is my plan C? What is my plan D? And we get there and we didn't see a single other vehicle hunting the entire property. So we basically had a couple thousand acres to ourselves. And so we finally luckily we got to hunt my plan A in that case. And so we snuck down there. And again, we were late. So by the time we started getting to where I wanted to set up, it was already legal shooting line. You could see pretty good. And there's already like 6 or 7 does in the field that would have been within archery range of where we wanted to set up. And so we just kind of sat there at the top of the ridge and just watched these does in the field. They were just kind of feeding around, meandering a little bit. And this field was winter wheat with a little bit of turnips that looked like were planted in kind of sparingly. And so you could see where they were pawing at to try to get to some of those tubers underground and eat those. And so we sat there for I don't know, 30, 35 minutes and just kind of watch those does do their thing until they finally moved off into the bed. And what's really cool about this area is it's basically a big power line cut. And so we're at the top of the power line cut looking down, and it's probably, I don't know, Jason, you've been there quite a bit. What do you say? It's a pretty steep, I mean, you're pretty elevated.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably 50 to 75 foot elevation change going down
Yeah.
there. I'd
Yeah.
say.
And so we just kind of sat up on top of that ridge and just sat there and watched and watched. And on both sides of the power line cut, it basically turns into really nice bedding. It's got a really nice prairie on either side. And one of the sides is really starting to become a prairie shrubland. And I know, Jason, you and I historically have seen countless beds in that area. And so I just know that happens to be a bedding area. And so those does after a while started to meander in that direction. And so finally I said, okay, let's make a sneak. We're going to sneak down there, get to our spot. And before I did that, I took a little bit of doe estrus out of my pack, put it on a cotton swab, and I dragged it with us right down the hill, basically right to where we were sitting. Because the whole plan and the whole reason I picked this spot was we had a perfect west wind. So the wind was going to be in our face. And I expected, just like we talk about a lot, bucks to be coming, checking the downwind side of that bedding area to scent check those does to see if anything's in estrus. And so I wanted my scent trail, my estrus, to basically be that. And we had a couple deer that kind of popped back out in the field after we got set up for, a few minutes. They'd feed, they'd kind of disappear back into the bedding. And then at about 8:30, we were kind of just sitting there like, okay, that's probably all the deer we're going to see. We had a coyote come running. I mean, he was going to run at us if he didn't finally see us. He came into about 20 yards, stopped, and then took off. And so at that point, I was like, okay, we're probably getting done. So we just kind of sat there and we're talking, just normal voices, just kind of having a good time. And all of a sudden I hear, oh, buck, buck, buck. We need him to walk this direction. A little. There you go. Can you get steady? And we look up at the hill where we were sitting originally in the morning. And with the way the sun was, all you could see was just a silhouette of a buck against the sky. Really nice little 6-pointer. And he basically came on a string, followed that exact trail that I laid down, and came and gave us a perfect shot at probably 20, 25 yards. The hunter made a great shot, perfect double lung, and he clipped a little bit of the heart. The deer ran maybe 70 yards. And the best part, the deer ran towards the truck and it stayed on the trail the whole time. So it was a perfect hunt. It was, yeah, great, great hunt.
No, that's awesome. And that was his
Yeah.
first sit ever,
That was
right?
his first hunt, his first
You've
sit. He
spoiled this
hit,
man.
yes, he shot a crossbow with me like 2 weeks prior. And that was the first time he had ever shot a crossbow. And so he's definitely hooked. He's definitely hooked. He actually sent me a picture a couple days ago. He's already went on YouTube and learned how to do the European mount, and so he already
Oh,
boiled the skull. It looks really good. I'll send it to you, Jason, so you can flash a picture here in the podcast. But yeah, he's already got it ready to hang on the wall.
wow. That's
Awesome.
awesome.
It's awesome stuff. Yeah.
I'm glad that worked out for him because he had been to a couple of our events prior to now, and he's always
Yep.
traveled quite far. I think we had one at Clinton Lake, and he's up in the Chicagoland area, so he
Yep.
drove probably, I don't even know, 2 hours, 3 hours to get to
Hours.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when he came back around for hunt camp, he's one of those faces that you remember, you're like, oh, I remember seeing you somewhere.
Hmm.
And he was really, I'm just happy that he was one of the ones that got one. That's awesome.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Uh,
And it was just one of
yeah.
those hunts I needed too, right? Because we had a few hunts that, you know, especially us as mentors, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to get people into the action, right? And so much so it becomes almost a mental block at some point. So when you finally have a really successful hunt, it makes it all worth it. Yeah.
For real. Yeah, and it's so hard for new hunters to take that shot sometimes. Like it
It
feels like it
is.
takes an extra you need a deer to come in perfect and to stand there for a bit to
And,
make
and
them
if
go through the
I'll,
thought
I'll send
process.
some of the videos of this buck watching in, and if you listen very closely, you'll actually hear me whisper because I could tell he was shaking quite a bit. I was like, "Hey, if you can't get comfortable, if you're not, you do not need to take this shot the whole time." Because in the back of my head, I was like, "Man, he's a nervous wreck over there." But at that moment, he was able to calm himself, take the shot, and then the shakes really started.
Yeah, all the hunters that we went out with during our camping trip in October for the archery camp and mentored hunt, I told all of them, I'm like, listen, if a deer comes in range and walks away, that's totally fine. Like
Yep.
if you do
Yep.
not shoot a deer today, that's totally fine. If we get to see one up close, that's awesome. You don't need to shoot it because we're here with you. You don't need to shoot it because it's your first deer. Like you can totally just watch this thing come in and walk out. And I just try to tell them like just mentally picture it constantly. And then I told I forget her Suze. It doesn't matter, but
Suzanne. Yep.
Suzanne, yeah, Suzanne. I told her that first day, and then she's like, "We can do that with everything in life." I'm like, "You know what? You could. I don't." The
Yep.
whole mindfulness and picturing things happening before they happen, so that way you're ready for when they do happen, can be applied everywhere. But so yeah, I just told that to her. I'm like, you need to just think of every way a deer could walk in front of you, all the different angles that they'd be walking, and then be ready for it when it does. But still doesn't mean they might take a while to get that shot. And so I'm happy he was
Sure.
able
Sure.
to
Absolutely. Yep.
connect the
And I
dots
mean,
on it.
I had another hunt. They're all starting to run together. I think it was last week, and
Yeah.
we had 9 or 10 does come in. One of them gave us a shot that I probably would have taken at about 30 yards. It was quartering away a little too far, but I was kind of whispering to him, "Hey, I don't necessarily want you to take that." It was a tough shot,
Mm.
and so we kind of passed on it. And stuff like that happens
That's
a lot.
that's
Yep.
ethics, right? Like that's a
Oh,
whole
100%.
thing.
Yep.
It's like what's a good shot for me is going to be different with Dan. With you know what I mean? Like it's all
Yep.
gonna works. Like it's all going to be very. It's very dependent on like your skill, what your equipment is, what you're comfortable with personally. So it's all going to be, which made it sound like I'm better than Dan. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. Especially the crossbow, especially the archery equipment. That is not the case. But it's going to be very dependent on what you're comfortable with and with what you're able to do. So
Hmm.
it's never. And I
Absolutely.
always tell people like it's fine to just not, like Jason was saying, it's fine to not take it. Like
Mhm.
that's fine. Like if you're not comfortable with it, then just don't. Like, and especially if you get too much in your head, just don't take it. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, I think a
There are
perfect
lots of deer
transition
out
is to,
there. Like
right, right. A perfect transition to just kind of build off that whole notion there is a mentored hunt that Curtis and I put on. They all run. It was either last weekend or the weekend before,
we've
something.
been busy, guys. We've been
Yeah.
busy.
Dan and yeah, you guys have been nonstop. Go ahead,
Well, we
Dan.
had a really good pheasant hunt where we went to a private outfitter. We had, what do we have, 8 or 10 mentors. We had really good dogs out with us, and we had 6 or 7 hunters. And there was multiple times where we were so proud of the hunters that they didn't take the shot, whether the bird didn't get elevated enough or whether it flushed in a direction that it was, an unsafe shot. And it's just a great learning opportunity, I think, for everybody. And it's something I still struggle with at times, that it's okay to let that animal go, right?
Hmm.
You don't have to be so fixated on, oh, I've got to harvest that one. I've got to harvest that. I've got to harvest that one. There's going to be more.
It's the
Hmm.
hunt, not the kill,
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's part of the reason I like with new hunters because they're just excited to see stuff.
Hmm.
Which is
Hmm.
how I am. I'm like, I'm happy to just see a cool bird. Like, I'm happy to be out there. So it makes me happy when they're like that too.
Yeah, and another thing, we as seasoned hunters, we're just looking for a shot opportunity that's safe, ethical, all those things. But these new hunters, they're trying to do that and be extra careful, but they've also got that added caveat that this is the first time they've ever flung an arrow at a deer,
Yeah, taking a
something
life.
that,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Hmm.
maybe they've admired their whole life, like, oh, look at this majestic creature, and now they are the hunter, they are the predator, they're the lion in this equation, and they've never been that, and that does give you a little hesitation. You've got to be ready to do that. So
My husband calls
sometimes,
it too the mammal solidarity. I swear, I think it's easier if you start with like birds. Like
Yeah. It's like fishing kind
there's
of.
yeah, like it's so much like I don't know, something about it being a mammal makes it a little bit harder, I think, for your first couple things.
I'd be intrigued by a survey. I can only go with what my personal experience has been, but like if adults and using adults as our mentees versus kids, if kids are more, I mean, it depends on the kid. If you could have, I don't want to call him a sensitive kid, but just a kid who's more realizes what life is and how important it is. I feel like you could get a younger kid without really thinking about the repercussions of what they're doing or just how like life is and how fragile it is.
Yeah.
And then you have these adults who are more deeper thinking and more connected to it. And I think the older you get might be even harder to break into it because of those thoughts that you've had about taking the life of another animal and things like that versus a kid who I don't think who ponders it as much.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean,
I was a
I
kid.
think that's a perfect explanation. I've done a lot of, mentored youth hunts, whether it was through Pheasants Forever when I worked back at Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, and they do have a complete, and I think a lot of it just comes down to, like you said, their maturity level, right? They're just not
Hmm.
thinking that abstract. And for so many, at least of the youth that I've mentored, for so many of them, yes, they want the hunt, yes, they want the experience, but 9 times out of 10, it's to please their dad or their mom. It's to be able to
Hmm.
show off to that older brother that, hey, I can do that. I did this too. And so for them, it does seem very harvest focused. But again, it's just that gratification of being able to show your somebody that you care about. Look what I did, right?
Oh yeah.
Which
So
is so
yeah.
funny to me because when I was a kid, that was the hardest part for me. And I raised livestock. Like we raised pigs for 4-H that we'd sell and eat. And like that I was cool with. Like I understood that, but hunting was so much harder for me. Like that was part of the reason I struggled to get into it as a kid. And why I was worried, not so much with hunting, but with trapping especially. Like I was worried I was going to really struggle um with some of that stuff. So I don't know. I think it probably is very kid dependent and
Yeah.
like going in with that mindset. But I think for me, it helps too, knowing that like anything, any kind of death we give as a hunter is going to be so much better than anything that's going to get naturally. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
there is that. Take that to
Yeah.
heart, I guess. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as an adult, you can kind of see the whole picture. Hopefully, it depends on the person, though. It's individual. It's so much an
Oh, very much.
individual
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
thought
yeah, yeah.
process of what
You
this
just kind
is.
of have to see what you're comfortable with, and you know.
Hmm. change topics a little bit. That's a really interesting
You
rabbit
don't
hole to
bring
go
it,
down
not bringing it
some other
down too
time.
much.
I know, just no, just the philosophy of hunting and what we're actually doing out here. But so I went out. I've had an odd season so far. I traveled, but also before that, we can get into. I kind of want to highlight this. I might be disappearing here in a little bit, so just get my 2 cents in here
Hmm.
before we get going. Um, One went out one morning, saw a spike and a doe. They were both on the other side of, they weren't too far out of range. They're probably at 70 yards across as they crossed the field. I'd picked the wrong side of the field to be on, and
Always.
they went the other side. Yeah, I always just think of the mummy and Benny, you're on the wrong side of
You're
the
on the side of
river.
the
Yeah,
river. Yeah.
that goes through my head often whenever things are crossing in front of me and I can't get to them. But yes. So then the next time I went out, new bow this year, and when we went out for the camping trip, I've been shooting a field tip into dirt to do my discharge at the end of hunting. I've done that since I was 18, and talking to you
With
guys,
your
I was
crossbow.
with my
With
crossbow.
crossbow.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
crossbow hunting. So I've been doing that since I was 18, and it's never had an issue. I mean, once in a while, your bolt's gonna get beat up by the end of it, and then you just switch out the bolt, and that's just how that goes. But you guys
Unless
had
you're,
this.
yeah, you're my husband and you hit the only rock in the freaking area and shatter
Yeah.
the whole bolt. That happened on our camping trip.
Oh yeah, it can be dangerous, and it's something that crossbow hunters have to consider. Like, how do I discharge this thing safely on public land? And it's kind of like a gray area where you're discharging your bow probably almost in an illegal way sometimes, depending on what the situation is. But like if it's dark out and you're shooting into the ground, you probably anyway. But it's to discretion of the CO. I'm not going to get into that right now. But then I got a discharge bolt, which is like a stopper on the end of my bolt. So that way, when that goes in the ground, it won't go as deep and hopefully won't damage the bolt as much and will be more rigid and safer. And then
So it's
on the
designed for decocking.
yes, it's a
Yeah.
decocking bolt head that you put on a regular bolt. And then there also are some bolts that we had where it's a decocking bolt where like the stopper is halfway up the bolt, which I always thought was weird because it does like kind of keep the bolt off the rail of the crossbow a little bit because it's like having a little barrel halfway up the bolt.
I think theoretically you're supposed to move it up every time to the tip, but
Okay.
I don't know how many people do that. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of shifted back when I saw it. Okay.
They also make ones that bounce and they have their own problems. Again, ask
Hmm.
my husband because then you're
Yeah,
looking for it in the dark when it spirals off into the woods.
for real. So then second time out, I went to go shoot the ground at the parking lot and I shot and the bolt just kind of did like a bloop and then my bow went and basically dry fired and snapped the crossbow cable. Not quite the cable, the string. So snapped the string. My crossbow just blows up and I'm like, great. So then I had to go to the bow shop and get it restrung, trying to get out during rut and everything. But then I went to the crossbow shop and I talked to the crossbow shop owner, and he said, "Man, I wish you were in here yesterday. A guy asked me for those for one of those decocking bolt heads, and he's like, I don't even sell them. And he's like, I get about 12 crossbows a year on average now with these decocking bolts that blow up the string on these bows. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said that in his from his point of view, now this is what you say when you're not trying to get sued by a company for talking bad about the product. This is allegedly.
Fair.
Anecdotally, this is his
Yeah.
experience.
Allegedly, the weight of these decocking bolts may be shifting your bolt off the string enough to where instead of it being a slingshot shot action where it's a smooth action, that it's slapping the knock, and then that's either going to bump the knock or just not have a good energy transfer, and then that's going to be like you're dry firing. Because imagine when you're shooting these decocking bolts, you're aiming basically at the ground in front of you, so you have that weight on the end of the bolt, and then you tilt it down, and then that little bit might separate it from the string just enough to where it responds in a slapping motion. So that could be an issue. Another issue that I've been looking up online, like why are these crossbows blowing up? Because we had one happen at our camp, and that was a bolt that had a defect in it. So that way, when it shot, it actually split the bolt, and then it went down, and then hit that stopper, and then cut the string and broke the string. So the three ways that you could have a crossbow blow up. One, you could have that decocking bolt, the weight shifts off, makes it not have a good contact, and then dry fire. You can have the bolt break, or the knock could be messed up. And I also looked at my bolt and it also had a messed up knock. Now I didn't know what happened first, if it was from it being slid forward and then the string hit it and then that's what bent the knock, or if the knock was already bent and that's actually what happened was that the knock bumped off and then the string dry fired. Either way, those are three things you need to look at your gear, and then also make sure that if you do have a decocking bolt, either don't use that anymore. The safest thing you could do would be to bring a target with you, put it outside of the parking lot area, shoot into a target, and then you're good to go.
And
Uh,
even that, I'm not convinced that's very safe either, because then you're carrying a loaded crossbow that's got all that pent up energy, from either your stand. And
yeah,
I'm not. I think everybody really needs to evaluate their own personal, their
Like
own
what you're
what.
okay with.
Yeah, because again, like if I like to hunt with my vertical bow, but if I'm ever in my tree stand using a crossbow,
hmm.
I'm discharging that crossbow before I even begin to think about climbing down, right? And so, what do you do then?
I always just unload mine and then I lower it pulled back. So I don't. I've never decocted in the stand, but you could. I mean, you could take a field
See,
tip and
I
shoot it.
always decock it from the stand. Yep,
I think that would be a safe way to do it too, because it's not going to be able to bounce back up to where you're at, or
sure.
if it ricochets off or whatever. So you could put a
And again,
field
it's
tip
more
on.
so that I just know how much energy is stored in those
Yeah,
stupid things, and I do not want, if you lower it on a rope, maybe you just hit something weird and it just twists a little bit of a cam or something, and it just sends thing. And so I always just shoot it into the ground and unload it. But again, personal preference.
I mean
But
that
we've
makes
also
sense.
we,
I mean,
we also had a
honestly, the
friend.
most ideal way is probably just to buy a decocking mechanism for the
That's it.
crossbow,
That's the
but
other.
those are
Yeah.
expensive and they probably have their own issues.
Yep.
Yeah. But we had a friend who had this happen too. So within, I mean, a month, basically less than a
Mhm.
month, we've had basically three variations of this happen. So I was talking to my husband about this because the main holdup with getting it fixed too, right, is a lot of these strings you have to order. So this time of year, so now you have to wait a week. Like getting it put on isn't the problem, it's getting it fixed. So our main tip for this, besides what Jason mentioned for checking out your gear, is you may want to have order a string or two just to have
Yeah.
that fits your crossbow to have on hand for if it does happen, so you're prepared just to kind of save you a little bit of heartache. We had a friend who took off to go hunting,
Day
had
one of a
childcare
5 day
arranged.
trip, and
Yeah, and this happened on day one, and that sucks. So don't let that be you, if you can avoid it. So we wanted to mention it because it sucked. It's been something we've been noticing. So
Yeah. So
and this is all
yeah.
different crossbows. It's not like it's one kind or
No.
it's been different things this
But
year
it's
we've
always been
noticed.
during the decocking shooting, not during your actual shooting. So yeah, so just check your nocks, make sure if you do tip your bow down, and then if that slides forward, it's dangerous, but you can slide, but don't take the safety off, but push back on that bolt to make sure it's connected before firing it. And then make sure that there's no cracks or anything in your bolts as well, so that way they don't split on you. So check your nocks, check your bolts, and make sure that the bolt is touching the string before shooting.
always something.
Hmm. Yeah, the fact that it's happened three times. I mean, I've hunted
In
Yeah.
less than a
again.
month. Less
Yeah,
than a month.
since I was
Three different.
18, I've
Yeah.
never ever had this problem. And then the second time using this decocking bolt, it blows up on me, and that's never ever ever
Brand new
ever
bow
happened,
too. I don't know if you emphasize that. You bought that bow like
dude.
a week ago.
Yeah, yeah,
I shouldn't laugh, but
yeah.
what are you
Get the
gonna
bad
Um,
luck out now. Get the bad luck out now.
For real. Yeah, get it out now before our gun season starts. I'll take bad luck during archery season any day of the week.
do?
All right, real quick, because I do need to run. But
Mhm.
another thing happened. I want to share the video because it's really cool. We always talk about you can't see cool stuff sitting on the couch. So when I was visiting family in Pennsylvania, and I got to take my nephew out hunting, and we hunt just out the back of my dad's house, my parents' house. But we have permission to hunt the forest that's right next to their house. So we were out and probably about 100 yards into the woods, and we saw a buck and a spike and a doe kind of walk up, skirt us, and go into a thicket. But a cool thing that we saw was a fox, and so we got to watch a fox come up from the bottom, and then he got even with us. And this was the most highly they need to get in there with a BB gun or something because it is loaded with squirrels. I've never seen so many squirrels. I mean, I was counting 5 to 6 at a time running across in front of me. I mean, it was the most squirrels. And this fox came up, and then you can see in the video, I'll post the video over top of this, but you can see a squirrel move on the one side of a ditch, and then the fox sees the squirrel, and then the squirrel jumps up and then runs over to a rock wall because at one point it was farmed at 100 years ago or whatever. So this rock wall that the farmer had, and it runs over to this rock wall and then starts running down the rock wall, and the fox follows it, gets on the rock wall, and then chases it down this rock wall, and then the squirrel jumps on a tree, and the fox is right underneath our stand at that point. So pretty cool. So I got to see a
That is
fox real up
cool.
close.
That is cool.
And my nephew was not interested in like shooting a fox or anything, so we just let it run away. But so we got to do that, and then another cool thing we got to do was head out. It's striper fishing, so striped bass are moving from north to south right now. It's good seasons to get out there in New Jersey if you're out there in May and in November. So I was talking to the mate, and he was saying that the big ones go through first, and then they have a slot limit. And I got to talk fishing regulations. I don't want to bog us down in fishing regulations, but if you think hunting regulations and waterfowl regulations are hard, think about fishing regulations as well, because it's a big ocean, and they have gill netters out there. They got ones out there that are like clammers. They got other ones that are out there that are basically just sucking up the whole bottom of the ocean out there. And then they're competing with those guys and the people, the private boats. And we were on a head boat, which is a party boat or like 60 people on a boat. We were just drop lining and casting out. And we had a pretty good day. I got
I mean, you
one.
guys caught some slobs, it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 32 incher. So the interesting thing is that it's now a slot limit, and before it wasn't a slot limit, and before you could get two, and now they're trying to bring them back, I guess, but it's one per person, and it has to be between 28 and 31 inches. I got 30. I caught a 32 incher. My wife got a 30 incher. My nephew, my buddy, and were the other ones who got them, and they all had 32 inches. So they get smaller as the season goes on. But it was very interesting to hear him. It was very much so. How do I make these regulations the most beneficial towards me? Like he was
Yeah.
saying, like they should outlaw anyone in a private boat out here besides these head boats to be able to be out here during the peak of the season. They need to have it be. It was interesting to say there could be a group tag where like maybe six of you can get one that would be out of the size or whatever because they
Okay. Like
catch so
trophy or
many.
something. Yeah.
They get so many that are just too big because they're
I mean,
huge.
that seems like such a narrow slot. 3 inches. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
28 to
That's
31. Yeah.
yeah, that's a really narrow slot, huh?
Yeah, and then he was talking about how there's windmills being put in, water windmills be putting in out north of them, and then it's going to create a reef, and then he's like, and that's going to delay them coming down here by a week or
Oh,
two.
because it's going to create other, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost it reminded me of
Like the
Missouri
corn.
and corn and flooded corn, and then the complaints about flooded corn holding up the birds or whatever. And I'm just like, man, it is the same crap, just different toilet. But anyway, but yeah, so he was just all these different complaints. It was very interesting to hear, and he had a science background, and he was the mate on the boat, and he'd been a mate for like 16 years. But very interesting to hear the complaints of a fisherman out in the ocean. But it was a great time. Long story short,
Nice.
if you got any time out in November, if you get your deer early and you want to get out deep sea fishing, head out. They had some cool videos on their Facebook yesterday where it was the overhead view from the top of the deck, and all the bait fish were out jumping around like crazy. You could see the bass is coming up and through them because the water is so clear there that you could see the big fish coming through and eating the little bunker and
That's
stuff.
cool.
So it was a really cool video.
So would you guys get to bring home one, you said?
Got to bring home one, yeah. So we got so we got a lot of. I mean, they're huge. I mean, like
Oh,
those 30
yeah,
inch
yeah,
fish. So
yeah.
my wife cooked up to thank my parents. She cooked them. She's a great cook, so she cooked them up, four fillets the one night before we left, and I think we brought home eight more.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, with that, I gotta
That
get
sounds like
going.
a heck of a trip. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
cool.
was awesome. No, it was a fantastic trip. That was day one. I tell you what, we drove 12 hours. Talk about driving and doing crazy stuff. Drove 12 hours to Pennsylvania, and then woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Got there at like 9, woke up at 2, and then drove another 2 hours to New Jersey, and then fished all day. So it was a epic
The things
Friday,
we do for
Saturday.
recreation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for real.
Nice.
All right. Yep. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, yep, we'll see you. Well, Curtis, I know you've been out quite a bit.
Yeah, so I hunting family property in Missouri. So Missouri, they've got the firearm season, so I get to use the 243. Although I have not
Wow.
touched the trigger yet, but I've got 5 sits now because opening weekend. So it started on November 15th. So Saturday was opening day. Opening day hunted. Didn't see a single thing in the morning or the evening, so 2 different sits with nothing. And then the following 3 sits, I seen deer each of the sits. So I'm at a total of 5 sits. I've seen deer in 3 of the 5,
In
four
the first
total
couple sets, it was
deer.
pretty warm over opening day, wasn't it?
Oh, the whole time it's been
Yeah,
warm. I mean, it's whatever. It sometimes it's been a little nicer than I haven't broke out in honest to goodness coat this whole year. I'll tell you that. I mean, I'm still wearing like what I would consider my early season stuff. So anyway, yeah, been warm, whatever, and I'm hunting three different properties because we've got one family trust property around Middletown, Missouri, where I started out. Ton of shots there opening morning. A lot of shots around me, didn't see anything. And then I moved to my uncles who have property in Lincoln County, Missouri. They have two
Mhm.
different little 40-acre spots. And so, yeah, that's what I've been hunting now. It's a little bit closer to where I live. And yeah, seen a couple, but they shoot only nice bucks there. So I want to respect their wishes, even though I'm usually happy with whatever because I mostly just want to eat them. I've had like a small 8 pointer and small spikes and stuff kind of walk right under me, but nothing that's either antlerless that I will be taking a shot at or no larger bucks. I seen one buck that was maybe a larger buck, but it was way far away, right at shooting time. Um, I just caught a glimpse of it going through the brush. I could see it had antlers. That's all I could see. Wasn't
Yeah.
close enough to get a shot anyway. But so yeah, that's what I'm at right now. And this is private land. I'll reiterate that. But I'm at one deer every 3.75 hours in the stand in what I would consider pretty decent spots. So a lot of the people out there getting frustrated with deer, it's tough. It's not easy. You've got to spend your time. The butt, in the stand is what gets you deer, and the longer you spend out there, the better your chance. And hey, I've got to see some cool stuff. I haven't got to touch the trigger yet, but it's been fun.
Nice.
Yeah, my husband's been frustrated because the sites he spent a lot of the very early season scouting, he forgot that with Upland, when Upland opened, it shut down basically, except for a couple days. So everything shifted. So now he's basically like, well, now I'm at a different site learning
Hmm.
things. So it's like, well, you're learning. Like, so he's a little annoyed with himself for that, just because we both just kind of forgot that,
That they
changes
close.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they completely closed down, most of the site for uh some of that. So he's like, I've seen more pheasants than deer running around, like just escaped pheasants, like
But yeah, just to go back to the hunt you mentioned too. So it was November 8th that we did that mentored pheasant hunt, and
Hmm.
this was a prize from Hunt Camp. So for those of you that don't know, Hunt Camp is an event we do once a year where we kind of allocate the vast majority of our mentored hunting experiences. And we had some Hunter Ed instructors from the Rock Island Hunter Ed group. Brian and the gang kind of contacted us and said they were interested in volunteering their services and their dog services to get some new people out on pheasants. And so that's what we did. We found a hunt club up in their neck of the woods, Morrison, birds in the
The staff
morning.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah, they made some pumpkin bars that were really tasty after the hunt, some kind of, I don't know, pumpkin cake type thing with icing on it. It tasted good and it was fall inspired, so I don't know what the heck you call it, but it was yummy. Yeah, no complaints with their hunt club. We got some birds out there and everybody got opportunities. Not
Hmm.
everybody shot a bird out of the sky, but it's like we were saying before, it's there's a lot that goes into it, and especially with pheasants, unlike deer, they're hopefully the deer standing still in front of you, but these pheasants are flying as fast as they can to get into the next county. And so these hunters had a chore about it, but I don't know how many we wound up getting. I don't even remember if we counted, but
I
all
think it was about a
together,
12 to 15 somewhere in there.
yeah, somewhere in there. It was a good hunt. Most
Yep.
everybody left with pheasant meat, and they all got opportunity to see really well trained dogs work in the field, which that there is like 90% of the hunt for a lot of people. And yeah,
Especially
yeah,
because it was a very mixed bag of breeds, right? A lot of times when you do stuff like this, you'll get like just eight German Shorthair point, which I love GSPs, but you'll just get eight of the same. And it was so cool. We had Weimaraners, we had Vizslas, there was a Brittany there, there was a a lab there. I mean, there were so many different breeds. It was just cool to see how everything worked differently.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care what flavor it is, just watching dogs run around fields. I mean, that's just good fun, you know. It's when they're those dogs when they know they're hunting and there's birds in the field. I mean, that's their Super Bowl. It's
Yep.
like ah, I
And it
just
was
how
really
can you
cool because a couple of them you could tell hunt together. And so they would very well, one would get on point and the other one would support that point really. And
I
that was such a
I
great
I
learning moment for
love
new
when they back
hunters.
each other on point. It is
Yeah,
like my
yeah,
favorite. Oh, it is like my favorite
yeah.
thing to see. It just makes me so happy. Like when they like are like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're right. There's one here. Like I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, it was a fun,
so
fun hunt. Yep.
so big thanks to Brian and the whole Rock Island Hunter Education crew. They're a top notch crew. They put on an awesome hunt out there. And big thanks to the Morrison Hunt Club for having us out there, being good host. And then big thanks for all the hunters for showing up,
Hmm.
trying something new. We talked about it there, but it's tough for adults to try something new because nobody you're not going to be good at it right in the beginning, and
Especially
nobody wants
upland.
to.
Like upland is like very like because you're there's people watching you. Like there's a lot going on.
Hmm.
Like I think upland is like kind of pressure because it's just there's so many eyes on you. There's a lot of moving parts. Like at least I think so. Big shout out to giving it a shot.
Yeah, it was great. Cold, rainy, and people still showed up. Loved it.
Yeah, it was the first day it like started to try to feel like fall,
Yeah, yeah.
going back and forth a little in the yo-yo.
Yep, yep, yep. But yeah, we've got quite a bit of hunts coming up. If you're interested, again, check out those mentored archery deer hunts through Illinois DNR. There's one at Kickapoo State Recreation Area as well as Fox Ridge State Park, just to kind of round out this conversation around mentored hunts. Again, links down below. And the way the application is currently written is that you need to have a mentor. Basically with you at all times, and that mentor needs to be 21 years of age or older, a licensed hunter, that kind of thing. Now, where it can get tricky is if you don't have a mentor. We are willing, if we are able, to try and help you either ourselves act as a mentor for those hunts or connect you with another mentor. We certainly can't guarantee it just because timing and the number of hunters that are going to be out there. But if you do happen to get selected for one of these hunts and you don't have a mentor, reach out to us literally the day that you hear that you were selected, and let us know right up front, and we'll start trying to track down a mentor for you for at least a few of the days. And the really cool thing about the way that hunt is the blind's already going to be set up. So you will have to hunt from a pre-positioned blind, but all then you have to do is get there with your mentor, sit in the blind and hunt, and you will have deer in front of you. I've been on several of these mentored hunts throughout the past few years and had a lot of success. See a lot of deer and many times often get a shot. So a lot of fun, but definitely check out those applications below.
Especially if you look into the early season ones,
Yeah, yeah,
those are the prime.
yeah.
Those are the prime.
Yeah. And yeah, there's one video we've talked about it before with Minaj. He's one of our Learn to Hunt ambassadors this year at Hunt Camp. And his first deer was actually out at Kickapoo with me on one of these mentor hunts. And we have a video somewhere of literally like 30 does in front of us in the blind because it was the first day of that hunt. And so these deer had just never experienced really pressure before. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah. Any other updates from you? I know Curtis, you've been following the waterfowl regulation stuff quite a bit. You hearing anything new there?
Yeah, I mean, nothing new really to report, but the IDNR did hold the two public meetings down in southern Illinois for a comment period to kind of give folks a chance to voice their. Well, a lot of folks did voice their displeasure that the split in the southern zone was going to be right over the holidays because that's kind of a historically important time for people to hunt, families to hunt together, kids coming back from college and they're going hunting. So anyway, don't know the results from that yet. I don't know when those will be posted, but it sounds like close to 100 or more than 100 people. I think it was almost 100 made it to one of the meetings and
Oh,
just
wow.
over 100 made it to the other. So a good number of duck hunters made it out. And at some point, I guess we'll figure out kind of what they voted and where that's landed. But it sounds like the only one thing that they are looking at changing is the the timing of the split for the southern zone. And again, this is not for this year. This would be starting next year in the next cycle of regulations. But all the rest of it, I guess, is going to stick as has been reported already. So north and middle zones are basically set, and the south zone is almost set. They're just tweaking where that split might fall.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for the update. And yeah, just keep us posted. We'll check in, probably every episode moving forward, just see if we hear any news, because that's a story I'm very interested in following for sure.
For sure, yeah. And I one thing that because I went to the Delta Waterfowl meeting to kind of get on the same page about this, and most everybody agreed they didn't want the split over the holidays. It sounded like what most people wanted was to have the split over what they thought was a little bit of a lull between the holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas.
But it
So
sounded like
get
most were in favor of a split, just not the
yeah, I didn't
timing.
hear
Not that split.
anybody. Yeah, I think they were all in favor of a split. I heard one person say that they had seen some research that it takes about 14 days for the ducks to act new again. So the splits that are shorter than that, I guess it's a little interesting as to why they would choose some splits that are that short, but that's a whole nother discussion, I guess. But we'll see what happens. I mean, bottom line, I always like when things change and we see what happens. So I'm excited that Illinois is going down to 3 zones so that the
Agreed.
split can be tried out, and we'll see what happens.
I like it.
But
Fantastic.
the Delta Waterfowl chapter there at Carlisle Lake, top notch. They've got a lot of passionate waterfowl hunters there that are not only just people that want to slay ducks, but really worried about conservation and worried about the species that they hunt. So definitely my hat's off to those guys. The meeting I went to, they well put together group. They had a great meeting, and everybody there was seemed like a top notch conservation and hunter. So good group. Hope to hunt more with them. And if you're listening, whenever the ducks show up, you just call us up. We'll come on down there.
Just a phone call away. Speaking of, have you been tracking? I haven't really even given much attention to ducks yet this year. Just been focused on deer so much in a lot of our mentored hunts. But have you been following any of the migration trackers?
I mean, not a ton
Yeah,
yet. I did
it's
share to
early.
our
Yeah.
connections page. So because of the timing where we're at, a lot of the southern zones, like the southern tier of zones in Illinois, Missouri, they're not open, and so there's these giant areas of refuge that are just kind of collecting ducks with good habitat. And so really, we kind of need all the zones to open up for the ducks to redistribute, I would say. Now, that being said, like there definitely has been some good hunting around, but I think having a whole bunch of ducks tucked into what's essentially refuge of the southern zones that aren't opened yet, that might be hurting some people. But it won't be long now.
Yeah, yeah, any day. Yeah, we are starting to really get loaded up with geese. I in fact just saw a huge big flock fly over. So the
Yeah,
geese are
we've had
definitely,
quite a
yeah,
few up here too. I live next to a big old pond, so
that helps. Yep.
like it's bad when the rabbit dog is like geese,
Yeah, yeah.
geese.
Well, one more thing I just kind of quickly wanted to touch on during this episode, and I'll kind of throw it back over to Curtis and Lauren because you guys are going to be the ones really kind of spearheading this event. But we have a really cool event coming up in about a month, actually less than a month now, where we're going to do a little bit of trapping. So could you guys talk about that event a little bit and just kind of what to expect, what the event's going to look like, that kind of thing?
Sure, yeah, I can start it off. So yeah, Moraine Hills. We They actually contacted us because they might have some problem critters that they want to try to target, and it's a great place. We've held other workshops there before. This is going to be a trapping workshop, and we're actually going to run a small line. So I don't know exactly how many traps we'll get out yet, but I think they might have some beaver and some muskrat that they want us to go after. So we'll try to find places where we might be able to catch them, where folks that participants can watch along from the shore. So you don't need like waders or anything for this. If you have them, feel free to wear them. But for this, just wear your normal boots that you would wear to any workshop, and obviously clothes to be outside at that time of year. It's liable to be cold and nasty. I mean, we hope that it'll be fairly cold by that time, but we'll run a short trap line and we'll kind of talk about water trapping. We'll show you how to set some of the most common sets for not only beaver and muskrat, but also raccoon, and probably some other critters as well. You know, mink, otter. We can show you how to make sets for those. Even though we probably won't be setting any sets just specifically to target those critters, but we can definitely talk about that in the workshop. And then we'll
How to
talk
do a little
about
bit of
uses.
scouting, what to look for, that kind of thing.
Yeah, hopefully we can find a bunch of tracks. It's that time of year. It's hit or miss, you know. Will we have snow? Will we not? Will we have mud or will we have ice? I don't know. Roll the dice. We'll see what we get.
Should be
Awesome.
fun.
Thanks.
And that sort of leads me with my update, which is I haven't done much trapping because the site near me, I did get a gate key, but
Progress.
yes, which is great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You guys don't
So
understand how
can you
much.
describe that process? So I just want everybody to know this isn't like something that you're getting special permission to do
Oh
because
no.
you work with Learn to Hunt. This
Oh
is just
God,
the
no.
process of getting public access on public land to trap.
Oh yeah, no. So
Yep.
there are
Yep.
so few trappers. They're very excited to have somebody trapping, but actually the site I'm going to be trapping personally has nothing to do with me being with Learn to Hunt.
Mhm.
I contacted them. They're looking for a trapper, but they've never had like a just a normal recreational trapper on this site, which is partly why it's so late that I'm getting the gate key. I mean the season now has been open for 9 days. Um, I had to contact them. There's a whole, every site's a little bit different, but usually what happens is you submit your name in the summer to the biologist for that whole little zone. And if more than one person submits for it, then they do a little lottery
Mhm.
drawing. It's like a whole thing. And then they send you the rules and regs, which are not always very clear. And then you have to clarify. It's a whole process. And then I've got basically a special like windshield card and a permit I have to carry on me. I have to wear blaze orange the whole time I'm doing anything out there, so I don't accidentally get, mistaken for anything.
Anything.
Anything, just anything. I have daily, and the other thing with the gate key is, it's not special because I'm, learned hunting thing.
Mhm.
I literally have to check those traps daily. They want me to be out there. They want the stuff gone. Some of the stuff that, it's helpful for them so they don't have to, pay to get, because some of these species are causing them problems, right? Like they're causing infrastructure damage, they're causing issues. So they have to deal with it one way or another. I'm just an easy way for them to
Easy and cheap
manage it.
labor. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, like a lot of times, different Department of Natural Resources really like trappers because we save them a lot of money. So it's for that. But the thing is, there's a lot of gear you need with trapping, and then you usually end up with fairly large animals you have to take out. And because you have to do it every day, it's just to help me get a little bit further back in, especially because a lot of DNR sites don't let you have things like four-wheelers on them.
Right.
A lot of other states you can. Illinois is not one of those. So for a lot of sites for state land. So that's also part of the problem. But even then, because the site has never been trapped by a private trapper, and because what I'm doing is such a big waterfowl and upland site, I actually can't do any land trapping except dog proofs. So they're enclosed traps that are pretty selective. You really only get raccoons and then sometimes possums and the occasional skunk, maybe. It's fairly rare, but it can happen. Um, so basically to keep dogs out. But even then, they don't want me doing anything with water until February when everything else is closed.
Sure.
So I'm not going to be doing anything at this site until late, which is why I haven't done anything right now
Mhm.
with it.
Mhm.
So trapping actually has it's very site. So if you think the normal hunting regs or site regs are different, and I'm actually working on permission at a second site near me since this one is so late, but I'm not sure what they want me to do with that. It's just because I'm the only one um interested in it. that's why I
They
haven't
have
given
to do a
it.
lot of background information research first on their end. Yep.
Yes, because they
Yep.
don't know. And I've had
They
to
don't know the
talk to,
process, right?
yeah, I've had to talk to the conservation officer for this a lot. I've had to talk to the site super a lot. So it's very much not like special treatment.
Right, right.
It's been a huge amount
It's
of
been a
work.
grind. Yeah,
Yes, I've been working on this since June on and off, like, so it's not, and then they're all busy, of course, with upland and waterfowl.
sure.
So I do want to highlight it's not like, oh, learn to hunt. Like here's no,
Right, right.
it's
You can
like you're
do
doing
this
us
too.
a
Yep.
this is helpful, but we got a lot of hoops, we got a lot of, things, which is fine, but it's not um, you know, simple either. So
Cool. Well, keep us posted. We look forward to following along. It's gonna be a cool story.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I just
I
gotta,
bet. I bet. Long
yeah.
time coming.
Yeah, I
Figuratively
know,
and
right?
yeah.
It's this last year's been an adventure with trapping.
Yeah.
But I will say my other big update is I did just put a deposit down on a bird dog.
That's a pretty big update too.
I know, I'm very excited. Dan, everyone is shocked. I did, it's a lab to everyone. Everyone who ever knows me is like, what, a lab? But yes, yes, a lab. It's gonna be very
In a
exciting.
lab with a great pedigree, it sounds like too.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
excited. It's gonna be awesome. I think
And so
Curtis
you pick him
is
up after
pretty excited.
Christmas, is that
After
correct?
Christmas,
No.
yes. My husband was like, please don't make me drive 12 hours to Maryland with
With a
an
puppy.
8-week-old puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So that'll
Cool.
keep me busy
Yeah,
until
you'll have
driving
to we'll have to
season.
share a lot of pictures and videos on socials of the little guy. Yeah.
I'm so excited. My current dog is gonna be like, what in
Yeah.
God's
What
name are
did
we
you just
doing?
do to my life? Yeah.
But it'll be good for him too, having a
Yep.
hound, and it'll be good for our content. So if you're interested in the process of what all that entails, we will be documenting. I know Curtis has done a little bit with Echo as well, but
Mhm.
we will be doing that. And then I've got a goose hunt lined up with Griffin Outdoors, who was also at hunt camp with my husband and Minaj. Actually, we're all going up right
Yeah, we
before
actually had
Christmas.
one of the hunts was one. It was
Mhm.
either one of the ones that was one at hunt camp or one somebody just bought at hunt camp. They were up there a few weeks ago and had a really good hunt. So
Yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
fun.
So yeah, and I'm just doing it for fun. Like that. We
Yep.
not again, not because we're special. We just
Right.
they
Just
looked
paid
cool.
to do it. Yep.
We just paid to do it. So we're going to do that. That's our anniversary gift to each other. And then Minaj is
And
just
when is
tagging
that?
along. 21st, the day
Oh,
after. We have a squirrel workshop, hunting workshop coming up. And it's the day, like in person. It's the day after that. So,
got it. Cool.
but yeah, so that'll be fun. Yeah, Minaj is coming along for our
Nice.
anniversary gift to
Nice.
each other. Why not?
Yep. Yep.
So that'll be fun. So that's my current lineup.
Awesome. That's a good one. Well, I've got one more quick update I want to give, and then I'll throw it back out to the group to see if you guys have anything to kind of round out. But we're working on a pretty cool event that we're not 100% ready to completely announce registration for, but I just want to emphasize to save the date, get this on your radar. We have partnered with Freddie Reyes and his crew over at the Kane County Pheasants Forever chapter, and we are currently planning to host a large event. We're thinking the last weekend in February, so February 28th, somewhere around there. We're still waiting on, again, final approval from the venue, but it will be at St. Charles Sportsman's Club in Kane County, Illinois, obviously. And so it's going to be a really cool event. We're kind of marketing it as this really foodie type event, but we're also actually booking off some of the sporting clays course. And so we're actually going to, it's not just come and eat some wild game. That's going to be a big portion of what we really want is also to have some activities. And so we're going to have archery shooting. We're going to have shotgun shooting at the sporting clays course. But the big highlight is going to be this kind of season wrap up. Hunting seasons are going to be closed. Let's all come together with our favorite wild game dishes and just kind of have a big kind of beast feast type thing where we all bring some dishes, share it with each other. And so be on the lookout for that. But again, save the date if you're interested. We're thinking February 28th, and we should have the go ahead probably in the next week or two. They have a couple other events they're trying to get on the books end of February too. So we just want to make sure we don't double book there. But we went and gave a presentation to their board a few weeks ago, and they seemed super receptive, super interested. So it's probably a go. We're just not 100% certain on the exact date yet. But again, save the date and kind of keep that in mind if it's something you're interested in. It should be a ton of fun. We're really excited about it. We've already kind of internally been talking about what dishes we're going to do because we're going to get a little fancy with it, I think. Should be
Yeah, share food, share stories
Yep,
from the
yep.
season, share pictures. Like it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. And obviously, since we're talking end of February, it's going to be cold. We will have an indoor space. We will have their entire banquet hall to be indoor. So we will be able to go shoot for a little bit. When your hands start getting cold, you can come back inside and eat a bowl of chili or some of Lauren's Irish stew or whatever we have there. Yeah. Should be a ton of fun.
I'm excited for it. We've been
Yeah,
we've been talking about this one for a long
we
time.
have,
We've
and it's
been
been just trying to find the right venue and the right spot at the right time of year, and I think we finally did. So
Yeah, we'll
I'm
get that
excited.
menu lined out and we'll advertise it. But this is sure to be one of the more interesting nights out that you are gonna find in the area. You know, you and your friends or you and your significant other all trying to find cool things to do. I can promise you, you're not gonna find anything exactly like this because we're gonna try to have a diverse
So yes,
array of wild game that you can try all in one spot and then also get the opportunity to go out and shoot. It's going to be a good time, and then we're hoping to use this as a, let's see, what would you call it, like a fundraiser for Hunt Camp
hmm
2026 if possible. So it's going to be a kind of operate on donation. So donate what you can to get a ticket for this thing, but any of the money received is going to go specifically towards trying to purchase mentored hunt opportunities for Hunt Camp 2026. Because that's one thing we know everybody loves and it's awesome to have, but it's hard for us to get enough money in the ticket funds early enough to secure hunts for Hunt Camp. But by this way, by doing this fundraiser in February, like Dan said, for next year, if we are able to raise some funds, that gives us plenty of time to pick out something awesome. We don't know what it'll be yet, but the more time we have, the more time we have to find something awesome with these funds to be a sweet prize for Hunt Camp 2026. So, money goes to a good cause, and it's sure to be one of your more interesting nights out of the year. I
yeah.
mean, it's February, so the
There's no
year's just
telling the
started.
different dishes that we're gonna have there. There's no telling.
I'm super excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
should be great. And if you've never been to St. Charles Sportsman's Club, it is. I've been to a lot of sportsman's clubs in Illinois, whether it's through the wing shooting program or whether it's through, learn to hunt in some of our program events or just going to give presentation seminar, whatever. It's by far one of the nicer venues I've seen. They have an incredible sporting clays course. They have an incredible five stand trap skeet. When I was there, they just unveiled they have a nice pond. They went out and bought like 500 trout and stocked the pond with trout. And so if you're in the area and looking to join a group and become, get access to the range, look at the St. Charles Sportsman's Club. Again, we've got quite a few participants over the years who've been through Learn to Hunt and are now involved with that group, whether they're just a regular member or whether they're trying to, like Freddie Reyes himself was actually trying to run for a board position this year. So that was announced at the board meeting we were at. And so it's a really nice place. It's very inclusive. Everybody I met there was super down to earth, super wonderful and super open, and willing to teach you absolutely anything. And so again, if you're in the area and you're just looking for, some opportunities to meet like-minded hunters, check out that St. Charles Sportsman's Club. I think you'll like it. Cool. Well, anything else from you guys? That's about all I got today.
Oh, that's pretty much it for me.
Awesome.
Well, it's time to be in the woods and the marshes for something. You know,
Yep,
we're in the peak of everything right now. So
we are. I'm very excited for firearm season this weekend because again, I just haven't got to bow hunt. I think I'm on like 3 or 4 personal sits this year, which normally by this time I like to be in the over 15 already, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
yeah, so many mentored hunts. You know,
hmm
yeah.
Which I
And
have honestly, I have more when that guy shot the buck a few weeks ago. That was I was honestly more shaken from that than any of the deer I've ever personally killed. It was great.
And our group one was so much fun too. So
Yes, yes.
yeah, that's definitely we're definitely going to bring that back next year. So for folks that are interested in a group deer hunting trip,
And we're gonna scale it a lot bigger next year too. Yeah.
yeah, we will do that again because that's fun. I think it works out better for deer than it does for turkey because we
Yep.
get to hunt in the evening too, and it works out better. It
It
just
and you
does.
kind of leave with like other hunting friends too, because it is nice and bonding. So you kind of
hmm
make at least most of our I feel like everybody kind of swapped phone numbers and like they've been kind of chatting back and forth a little bit and it's just nice to know other people in the area or around you roughly, you can talk to about things. So
Yeah.
We can't be
That's
everywhere.
nice.
There's only four of us.
They keep the bathroom stocked with flying squirrels in case they run out of toilet paper. That's nice of them.
That was still my favorite thing. That is why I love doing hunting stuff because like you just never know.
You literally never know what's going to happen. Never know. Yep. The stories you get out of a hunt. Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and we will catch up with you next week. Again, if you're heading out this weekend for firearm deer season, we want to wish you a safe, happy, and successful season, whatever that word success means for you, whether it's bagging a big one or whether it's just getting out and enjoying nature for a little bit. Have a great time. Again, be safe. Keep that blaze orange or blaze pink on at all times. And again, if you're in an elevated stand, please wear your safety harness at all times and make sure you're following the correct requirements. I know I've said that quite a few times, but it's the reality. That's how most hunters' injuries happen, is falling out of a tree stand. So if you're hunting in an elevated position, keep that harness on at all times and have a great and successful season. And we'll catch up with you all next time.
For sure. And for the waterfowl hunters out there, the good thing about firearm season, it gets some of the pressure into the
Yep.
woods and off the
Yep.
marshes. So, hey, it's your time to shine, duck hunters.
Awesome. All right, we'll see y'all.
See ya.
See ya.